I want to tell you, it is most unfortunate that the Prime Minister talks about the fact that the Congress Party has always opposed reforms. In fact, if history has demonstrated, it is the Congress Party that always brought in reform. And I think that the Prime Minister knows enough of history to know that in 1993, when we came to power, who opened up the economy? It was Dr. Manmohan Singh who opened up the economy. Whether it was the telecom sector or the insurance sector or private investment or FDIs, all this was opened up by us. All the reform movements that have started, including digital reforms, by us, telecom sector by us. And then 1998 to 2004, all the reforms that were brought in by Vajpayee were supported by us. And in fact, when you opposed the insurance bill, when we brought it, you brought it yourself after you came to power, after Vajpayee came to power. And you are saying that, look, we have in fact, the country has not moved forward because of the Congress Party. But since 1998, who has been in power? We have only been in power for 10 years in between. From 1998, we are in 2026. That for 18 years, we have been in power only for 10 years. For 16 years, you have been in power. So what have you done for this country? What reforms have you done for this country? You're blaming us for bringing this country, not allowing this country to move forward like your neighbors. It's because of you and your government and your policies that this nation has not moved ahead, because your policy is based on dividing this country through hatred, by attacking communities. Not through reform at all. Had you invested in education, had you invested in the health sector, have you improved the quality of education, had you not opposed our education bills, we would have been a different trajectory altogether. This nation would have moved forward. Had you invested in defense, you would have been able to match the Chinese. But you've done nothing, because your only policy is कि भाई ये लाओ, वो लाओ, ये कानून लाओ, एक समुदाय के खिलाफ कानून लाओ. ये तो आपका काम है. This is what you do. This is what you have done for the last 11, 12 years. And about respect for women, you're talking about respect. What happened when Bilkis Bano? Did you make a statement when they were released for heinous murder? Did you make a statement for years when Manipur was burning and the women in Manipur were being targeted? And in what manner they were shown on the social media? Did you say anything? Why were you quiet? Is this your respect for women? What happened in Kathua? Did you make a statement? What happened? What happened with Sengar? Have you said anything? He continues. In fact, those within the system of your thinking, of the BJP, who do such things against women, instead of taking action against them, you support them. And you talk about the Congress Party. And you talk about terrorism. Who gave their lives for this country? Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. They were martyred to fight terrorism. And what did you do? Trump is telling you to cease fire when we could have gone into Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. Why did you keep quiet? You should have moved forward. Why does Trump have to tell us that I organized the ceasefire? Not once, twice, 30, 40 times. And your government doesn't have the courage to say, no, this is not right. Trump decides the tariffs that are to be imposed on India and you keep quiet. You've forgotten history? And you accuse us for following the policies of the British. All your laws, in fact, are much worse than the laws that were operational when the British were here. Much worse. Did the British do what you do under the PMLA? Did the British do what you have done? Where the state properties of this country, which are concentrated in the hands of one or two people. Did the British do that? And as far as defense services are concerned, the number of squadrons required for our defense services are 42. You have only 26. You don't have a fifth generation fighter aircraft. The Rafale is a 4.5 generation fighter aircraft. You don't have enough air power. You don't have enough resources for the oil. 88.6% of oil is being imported into this country. And what are the reserves you have? Only for 7, 8, 10 days or 2 weeks. While other countries have reserves for several months, Japan, China included. When girls were killed in Iran and the school was bombed, did you say anything? And you talk about women. In the 1942 Quit India movement, who did you support? You supported the British. You were never part of the national movement. Millions of people gave up their lives for the freedoms that we won. And you are destroying those freedoms today. And today you are talking about the Congress Party. Have you really read the itihas of the Congress Party, the history of the Congress Party? Or is it that somebody writes your speeches and you speak them over? It's time to start reading history books, which you tell what the Congress did and what sacrifices they did, and how we brought about the Green Revolution. You are the ones who opposed the Kisan movement. You are the one who opposed. And you talk about one pension. One rank, one pension. Where is the one rank, one pension? Even the army personnel say that's not correct. What are you talking about? What reforms have you done? Reforms that you proclaim, you forget about them because you proclaim a program and then you forget about it after a year. What is it that you have reformed in this country? The only thing you are trying to reform is the mindset of people in this country to develop hatred for one another. That's the reform, which you have succeeded in, which is why you've been winning elections. But in 2024, you got only 240 seats, despite all your propaganda. I'm glad I'm not holding an office and giving a speech. I'm just speaking as a member of parliament. All your propaganda. And you think that the women are going to punish us? Women know in this country that we are the ones who brought in the Women's Reservation Bill. First in 1996 by the then government, which was supported by the Congress Party. And you opposed it. You opposed it on the ground that there is no sub-quota for OBCs. And in this bill that you have brought just now, in 2026, where is the quota for the OBCs? And when you were in power and you brought the bill, we stood up. And I remember, I was a member of the Rajya Sabha. I remember saying, my party was saying at that point in time, please pass it because we both have the majority. You did not pass it. Why? Because you never wanted to pass it. And in 2023, when we had the constitutional 108th amendment, in that 108th amendment, what happened? You said that after 2026, there'll be a census, after that delimitation, and then the reservation bill. That's in 2023, passed unanimously, with no dissent. Why have you moved back from that? Because you knew that you can't do that. You knew that when census happens, the population of OBCs, the population of STs, the population of SCs, right? And you will have to lose your space there, political space. So you don't want that. You never wanted the census. And you know, because you have only 240, you knew that you don't even have majority in this parliament. You knew that if you brought the bill, it would fail. You knew it. Then why did you bring the bill? Why didn't you wait for 2026 and that did the census? Because you knew you don't want to do that. And here you wanted an opportunity, knowing that you would lose, to give a bhashan today as you have done. And in that bhashan, while an election is on in two states, you want to tell the Mahilas of this country, don't vote for the TMC and don't vote for TMK. This is your objective. The women of this country are not so stupid, my dear Prime Minister. The people of this country are not so stupid. And I can tell you this, we got 240 last time. We will be below 150 next time. Thank you very much.